Hey guys, how's it going? So today we're going to talk a little bit about leaves and acorns. Nah, I'm just kidding. But we are going to go into leaves and acorns, but I'm going to take that to the very end. And you guys will figure out why leaves and acorns are really important. And not in the physical sense of leaves and acorns, but we'll get into that. So earlier in last week, I had picked up some orange chicken crates. And I know, well, we saw them on Marketplace. A friend of ours, I knew that he had a lot of chickens, they're moving. So I messaged him and I'm like, hey, can you use these? He said, yeah. So I loaded up 10 of these crates in my van, took them out to him, visited his farm, had a really great time. And then I went out to visit my girlfriend, Heather, Needy Homesteader. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of her. She's an amazing woman. Check out her channel. I'll put links below. But anyways, so we had a girls' day. We went to the Mennonite store, talked about homesteading, that kind of stuff. And when we were shopping, we get to the register and she said, let me get this. And I said, oh my gosh, you don't have to do that. And she said, let me give you a blessing. And she said, you can't say no when somebody says they want to bless you. And I thought, wow, she's right. So anyways, that kind of stuck in my head. And then she's an hour and a half away. And we say our goodbyes and I'm getting ready to leave. And so I'm driving home and I'm reflecting on what happened with Andrew, the guy that I got the cages for. And then my friend Heather. And I thought, I didn't have to give those or even go out of my way to get those cages for Andrew, right? I could have just been like, oh, I saw it on Marketplace, whatever. I didn't have to do anything with it. But I knew in my mind, when I saw those, that Andrew came to mind. And I knew with Andrew moving, he could probably use those cages. So it didn't hurt me at all to make that extra effort, contact Andrew, hey, do you want these? Go through the transaction of doing it. Helped him out. And I just kind of thought, how cool is that? Because Andrew knew previous to this that I was looking for some colored eggs for my birds, chickens that laid colored eggs. So Andrew was looking to thin his herd. So he messaged and he's like, hey, I want to thin my herd, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I'll take your chickens. Well, then it came to the quail. He needed to downsize his quail. I popped into his mind. And so again, he didn't have to reach out to me. He could have posted them on his local swap. He could have, gave them to a neighbor. He could have processed them. But because he knew that we could use them, he made that extra effort. And as I go along with this, guys, the things that I'm going to be sharing with you, these extra efforts are what makes community. And these are the people, we want these people in our community. So on my ride home, I started thinking how stinking cool it was of how that transaction with Andrew circled back around and he helped me. I was able to help him. And then, going to visit Heather and, out of the kindness of her heart, her blessing me. She didn't have to do it, but she could and she did. And so on my way home, like I said, it's an hour and a half drive. I'm like bombarded with how cool. I'm starting to think about all the cool things that have happened, even in the last 6 months for us. And so at stoplights and stuff, I'm jotting down notes. You guys, honestly, look at this. All these different things were coming to my mind of situations that have happened that I thought, I have such a cool community. And so I thought what I would do is just kind of go through and share some of the coolness things and the people that are in my community, my people. And I'm just going to start out with pumpkins. And I know you're probably thinking, pumpkins, what's the big deal with that? Here's the thing. I posted on Facebook that if anybody has any extra pumpkins, my pigs, save the guts, whatever. So I was went over to my neighbor's house the other day, and she's like, oh, my mom saw your post on Facebook about the pumpkins. Now, my neighbor is due in January. So she's pregnant. She's got a 3-year-old and how old is she? A younger elementary kid. Okay, pregnant, and goes from her mom's house, brings back home these 3 huge pumpkins for my pigs. She didn't have to do it. She could have said, Ma, no, just whatever, I'm pregnant, I don't want to do this. But she made that extra effort because she saw that I said, hey, if anybody has these, I would appreciate them. YouTube and content creators, that's another really big one. Because I find in this arena of the world, sometimes people are funny about wanting to help promote other content creators. I'm not sure exactly the reason why you wouldn't want to help somebody else out, but whatever the reasons are. And in our early stages of YouTube, a friend of ours, Rachel, reached out and she said, hey, I spoke to somebody and gave them your name, your guys' name, about your trailer and what you guys are doing and all that kind of stuff. And it led to us being invited to do a very big speaking in Indiana at the Indiana Homesteading Conference. And then Rachel and I have done interviews, and she's got the Modern Homestead podcast, and she does that along with Harold Thornburg, and he's got Redemption Permaculture, and I will post links to those down in the description box. And another content creator is Heather from the Needy Homesteader. You know, she's got a huge following of her own, but yet she's still willing to promote and share other content creators, because at the end of the night, guys, we're all in this together. And, you know, that says a lot about somebody's character when we can all be doing the same thing, but we're still really willing to share other people. So that kind of struck me as I'm driving home, and all these, you know, thoughts are racing through my head of people that have done things they don't have to do, but they do it because they can. And so I'm driving some more, and I remember last winter we're out in the middle of a cornfield. We got a 950-foot driveway. The snow drifts are crazy out here. And it was my day to go pick up we do raw milk, and so we had to go pick up our raw milk share. And next thing I know, I get a text, and it's my neighbor, and she's like, hey neighbor, I'm coming up your driveway, I'm gonna throw some milk on your porch. And I thought, you know, how stinking cool is that? So she runs up real quick, she says, with all this snow, she goes, I didn't figure it'd be real easy for your van to get out there and then down my street, so I was going right past your house, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna just drop her milk off for her. She's got a truck that sits higher, you know. And again, it's one of those things, she didn't have to do this. You know, again, these are things that are kind of flashing through my head. Another one is we have another homesteading group, and we meet 3 or 4 times a year. And this last meeting they were going to have, they put the date out there, and I was like, oh man, I wish I could go, but I'd already had plans. And so Carl says, is there another weekend that will work? And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool that, you know, they were willing to rearrange their schedule so that we could be included. And I thought, you know, that is really cool because he didn't have to do it, but they wanted us there. So the thought, you know, that thought process, you know, all those things are kind of going through my head, and I'm like, you know, I am pretty freaking lucky. So I'm thinking about this homesteading group, and I'm thinking about holly, and I had mentioned at one point that I'm looking for bay leaf plants. There's a name for them. I can't remember what it is, but you know the bay leaves that you cook with. So anyways, I want one of those plants. She says, I've got cutting. She goes, I will work on getting you a cutting. And I don't know, 6 months, 9 months go by, and she says, hey, I'm going to bring that cutting for you to the next meeting. Like 6, 9 months later, and that thought was still in the back of her head to bring me that plant. Vicky is in our group, and she loves to cook and bake, and is really crafty, likes to have the eye appeal, and just makes beautiful stuff. And she will reach out, and because we're gluten-free, and she will double check to make sure that whatever item that she's making that we can have. Again, she doesn't have to have something that's there for us to eat, but to her, that's her blessing. And so it's kind of cool that, these people, they're thinking above themselves. So when I talk about community, that's community. These are people that want to be here, want to be a piece of what's going on. And then Sean's in that same group, and I think it was last summer, my cake fridge went down. And I am literally like, oh crap, graduation season, and so I posted on Facebook, I don't care if it's a garage refrigerator, I need something to put some cakes in. So Sean does commercial refrigeration repair and all that other stuff, so he sent me a picture of this commercial fridge, and he's like, will this do? And at this point in the game, I was ready to go out and spend money to get a refrigerator because I was kind of up a creek. I said, oh my gosh, really? And then I'm like, how much? He gifted it to me. Gifted it to me, guys. A commercial refrigerator. It didn't work. He picked up the shell of it. He was able to get it going, and he was going to flip it for a little bit of money. So he said it has more value to me than the money that I can get for just throwing it on Marketplace. Guys, that's community. Those are people that we want around. Next one is a friend of ours that owns a pantry. And they, at the end of the week, when they've given out all the food and stuff, they have surplus. They've got big farmers that can donate this stuff for the animals. But they know that we have a little farm. So they offer, hey, come pick up what you need. They don't have to do that. They could just give it to the farmer that's going to take everything all at once, but the thought and the consideration that we can use it too. So in turn for that, we donate one of our pigs back to the pantry at the end of their growing season. One of the other things that come up that I'm thinking about when I think about people in my community is, and this may not necessarily pertain to me 100%, but I've seen it with other people in our group where they may offer a service or a product, and people might say, oh, well, I can get that cheaper if I go here, or if I go there, or if I do this, and the thing that they're missing is this person has taken their time. Particular person I'm thinking about provides a service, and you can buy the item that, I don't want to go too far into it because I'm not sure what needs all to be shared, but he provides a service, and then we've heard people say stuff like, well, I can get that cheaper somewhere, or I can make that, or I can do that, and then they purchase the item, and then they can't do it, and then they want this person to kind of bail them out. And to me, that's not community. You might pay a little bit more for something, but these people are providing you a service. So the big thing I guess I'm trying to get at with, your friends that have a business or are, making things out of their house, the stay-at-home mom that's making things, you might pay a little bit more for that stuff, and some stuff you probably pay a lot more for, but you're supporting that individual person and that individual friend. So think about that, when you see somebody selling soap, or somebody's got a home business and they're doing things, by you supporting them, you're part of that community. right? And you're believing in what they're doing. So I'm trying to think if I got everything covered on here, because my mind was like going bonkers with all the things that, when I started reflecting on who is in my community and what does that actually mean. And I got this message the other day, and I was out working with the animals, and it said, "Hey, I've got some leaves for you." And I thought, okay, that's nice, that's cool. I go through that city anyway to pick up my grandkids, so not a big deal. I'll just stop and grab them. And she says, "I also have some acorns for you." And I thought, oh, that's cool. I wasn't sure when I was going to come through, so I said, "Can you put them somewhere where I can just grab them and go?" And she says, "Yeah." She goes, well, read this right here, and you'll see what it says. Do you guys read that? She says, "The acorn bags are in the doggy bag." That's all I had when I was on my walk. So think about this, guys. She's raked her leaves. Okay, that's cool, whatever. Now she's on a walk, right? She's out doing her thing. She's taking her dog for a walk. She sees these acorns on the ground, and she's like, "I remember Sonya asking, for acorns." So all she said was, all I had was this doggy bag. And so literally now, can you imagine? She's out walking her dog. She bends over and she's filling this little poop bag full of acorns to bring back. The bag had maybe 2 cups. And the pigs loved them, Joni. By the way, the pigs absolutely love the acorns. But it's not the 2 cups, guys. It's the fact that on her walk, doing her own thing, she stopped and took a moment because she said, "I remembered you said you needed these." Guys, those are our people. The people that go out of their way to pick up acorns and throw them in their dog's poop bag to bring home. So these are the kind of things, guys, that when I think community, who are these people? And they're the acorn people in my community. They're the people that will go out of their way to take a minute to do something because they know it's going to benefit their friend or their person or whatever it is. In the big world out there and your busy life, remember the acorn. It's not about this physical acorn. It's about doing things above yourself, about helping your friend, helping your neighbor. It's not having to dig in your pockets and spend a ton of money. It's simply bending over and picking up an acorn. All right, guys, until next time, keep on keeping on.